Welcome back, ATC All-Stars. Haniff Toussaint here, Dean of Adult Education. Today we have a good one for you. We are joined by Mr. Greg Joyner, an alumni of ATC. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm well. How are you today?
Hey, good to have you, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. So we're just going to have a conversation. We'd like to do a little share and response here.
Okay.
So let's start off with your experience at Atlanta Tech. What was the impetus for you to kind of attend Atlanta Tech?
Well, I was at a transition point in my career.
Okay.
Before coming to Atlanta Tech, I was already an engineer. I had already done a graduate degree in construction management. And believe it or not, all of that education still didn't necessarily equate to doing a project around the house. So I came here really to just take one class to learn how to do something at the house, and talking to Mr. A.J. Mickleberry and Ray Carter and Hector Sellis over there in the carpentry department, stuck around and finished the entire program.
Oh, okay. So while you were trying to kind of figure out to do a DIY, pretty much, because like you said, you're doing something at the house, it just sort of broaden your scope and widen your vision about some of the things you want to do professionally.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. And how do you kind of take some of that, and how do you speak to a young person who's maybe just starting to kind of jump into that field?
Well, I can tell you from my experience, regardless of the education I had, it enhanced every ability that I had prior to this. So it made me a better engineer. But if you don't have that type of background coming into this, the instructors have been in the industry for 30 plus years, all of the guys who were instructors for me. And I would tell a young person that, college may seem like a place where you're trying to get out of mom and dad's house, or a place where you can get some money for going to school. But if you take it serious enough, it'll open the door to careers you didn't consider before, and you're going to be part of a network that can give you, steady employment if you choose.
Oh, that's very important. You're absolutely right about that. The network that college creates is invaluable.
I agree.
So tell us a little bit about some of the highlights, your experience at ATC.
For me, I was really excited to do things with the roof, the roof of a house. And that's very Carpenter-esque right there. But when you get to dissect into parts of the roof of a house, and then you start driving past houses, you start to appreciate the craftsmanship in each one. And then learning how to spot a foundation, which ties into the first steps of construction, which is the civil engineering and prepping of the land before you can actually begin to build. So those definitely stuck out for me. And maybe lastly, doing floor installation, like the tile flooring, and getting down there and putting down your mortar. And it's almost a Masonic type feel, but it's very gratifying to see the finished product.
Okay. So you came here, construction is your thing. Now, was there anyone that sort of influenced your decision to kind of get into construction?
Mr. Carter definitely did, over in the carpentry department. Do you mean within ATC?
Correct.
Okay, so
or even outside of ATC.
Yes. So I think it's important in any business that you're going to go into, if you want to be the business owner, to find some form of a business mentor. So I had a business mentor in engineering who kind of encouraged me to, hey, if you can do this in the corporate world,
Yes.
you can scale it down to a small version that's still going to be pretty profitable in the private sector and for yourself. So I have to thank my business mentor and my engineering mentor, because I had to. And then when I got here, the instructors over there, Mr. Carter, Mr. Mickleberry, they gave me the confidence to step out on my own. And, as you get further into the program, you learn how to check yourself and kind of prevent errors and things of that nature. So it all came together for me as one.
Now, with all the influences you had, with all the experience, how did that sort of expand your thinking, your approach to your industry?
So that's a great question, actually, because construction covers so many different aspects. There's a lot of trades involved. I'd already done project management, so I knew how to manage a budget. But it's one thing to put together the plan. It's another thing to be able to talk to the people executing it in terms that they
Oh, yes.
understand,
True.
right? So they don't feel like you're talking down to them or condescending. I mean, you're really just one of the guys, regardless of your position, when you're on a construction site. We all have the same end goal, and that's to finish the project.
No, you all wear, a hard hat.
That's right. That's right. And anything can happen to either one of us. None of us
Exactly.
is immune out there.
Yeah.
So we all kind of have to protect each other too. And that's humbling.
You're absolutely right about that. Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges you faced. Okay. What would you say some of the sort of the stumbling blocks you had, even while attending ATC, even in your own business, your own profession, and how can you help a young person navigate those challenges coming into the profession?
So the biggest challenge I had here was I had a son, I guess,
Oh, okay.
during my second semester or
Right.
second or third semester. So that a baby changes your life, when you've got to take care of someone else.
Time management.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you have to, and really planning comes into play too. So it threw me for a loop, but because it's college, you can kind of work ahead in your classwork sometimes, and then we have to come build things. And I was able to limit the amount of time that I missed when it came to some of the construction trades. And just in your trying to manage these things in your career, I think it's important to always try to work from a plan. Nothing substantial happens without a plan.
Oh,
That's whether it's
definitely.
construction or your career, or even the way that you want to live your life in your personal life, your family, your wife. These types of people, you should always have an idea of what you're trying to accomplish with those.
Definitely. I think the old famous saying is nobody plans to fail. You just kind of failed to plan.
That's right. That's right. That's
Okay.
100% right.
And what advice would you say you would give to an individual now, just stepping into the industry?
Well, never expect to know everything, regardless of how much information and knowledge is out there. The way things are done, the materials we use to do things are constantly changing. Hopefully, they're improving. We live in a world where you have to let go of a lot of the things you learned growing up, almost within 10 years of learning them sometimes.
And that's very important. I think, in my experience, and I've been around for a bit.
I'm going to take your word on that.
Okay. A lot of times I hear people go, "Oh, we used to do it this way.
Right.
But this is the way it was always done." I mean, have you faced some of that?
I faced a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I have a saying myself, it's not the strong who survive, it's the flexible who survive, I'm sure there were plenty of strong cavemen, but if you couldn't adapt to how Earth was changing, you're probably not here today. But
Okay.
I think it's important to maintain flexibility and to also be able to receive coaching and advice from others. A lot of times, I think when you're young, your head is a lot harder. You can be stubborn. You need to be open, even if it's not necessarily the right answer. At least it could be the right way to look at the answer, or it could be the right direction to go find the answer. But if you shut off any type of assistance from others in
Yes.
terms of your own development, you're really just harming yourself.
No, you're absolutely right. And let's also talk about your connection with ATC. How do you stay connected with the college?
So I'm still part of the Atlanta Technical College alumni group. So we do a weekly, or maybe it's a biweekly video conference, or
Oh,
I guess
okay.
meeting online.
Sure.
Just to kind of talk about the issues that are out there, opportunities, and really just networking with more like-minded people and staying focused on the future. And for me personally, it means a lot that this was one of the foundations that Mr. Hank Aaron
Yes.
was gladly a part of and happily a part of. And may he rest in peace. His impact is still felt here as well. But
Oh.
I think the way he approached it makes a lot of us want to remain involved.
Oh yeah, he has. I mean, not just from an athlete point of view, but from, the idea that he gave back to the community in
That's
so
right.
many ways.
Yes.
Okay. Also, now I want you to kind of tell us, and especially again, we're speaking to the young people, how has your practical skills sort of, you know, prepare you to kind of move forward in your position?
Well, nothing gives you more confidence than to know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And the best way to know is to do. And when you're first entering a job or a career field, the one thing you lack is experience. Well, ATC gives you that experience. We
There
can
you
go
go.
read about carpentry and there's 300,000 employees in construction and read all of this stuff, but you really don't know how to build a roof until you've gone and built a roof. You don't know how to do the roofing until you've actually gotten up there. And once you come here and you get that practical part of it, not only do you learn how to price it properly, which is important for me as a
Yes.
business owner, but you know how to identify quality versus, below standard work. And, for me, that's very important because I believe that if you have a quality product, you should charge
Quality price,
accordingly.
you
I
know.
agree.
And I have friends, they have their own business, and that's one thing they struggle with. The idea
We
of
all struggle with it.
what is the appropriate price to charge? What is value versus worth?
That's right.
How do you go and charge $500 an hour when you're consulting as opposed to, oh, I only want to charge 75. And, it's a big struggle especially for small business owners.
Oh yeah. And
Okay.
you're always constantly, at odds with, am I leaving money on the table?
Oh, definitely.
Did I
That
charge
thing
enough?
it's always there.
All right. So and again, that goes back to getting experience, going through the process a few times, winning a few jobs, going back and analyzing how the project performed. Now, a lot of these things I learned in corporate America, but once you've been out here and you've had the hammer and nails in your hands and you understand how unrealistic some of the expectations were before. You quickly learn about weather conditions, and it's not easy to work in 100-degree weather, but you look out there and those people still working. So there's a different appreciation and respect for these trades once you actually have to come do them yourself.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Anytime.
Is there any last little bit of thing you'd like to share with us before we close out?
Well, I believe that it's important that once you do obtain your education and whatever credentials you're trying to achieve or accomplish, it's important to remain connected and to give back in as many ways as possible. So that could be you offering maybe an internship or an opportunity for someone who is coming behind you in that program
Oh, yes.
to come see how the real world works outside of school. So just to remain connected to the people who helped you get where you are,
Oh, definitely.
as long as it's positive.
Hey, I used to have my mentor. His thing was who's going to be my replacement,
That's right.
and definitely we're all in that stage right now. Who's going to be our replacement? Who's going to continue our legacy, our traditions?
That's right. And you never know what shape, form, or fashion those people are going to come from. So you have to be open to the people who are willing to come in sometimes after you, because it could be someone who looks and sounds like you, or it may be someone else. But I think we all have an obligation to pass information on to the next person.
Okay, great, man. Great stuff. And what's the name of your company again?
Noble Construction Group,
Noble Construction.
projects with a cause.
All right. All right, All Stars. Mr. Joyner, thank you so much for your time.
Certainly.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
If you enjoy what you heard, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you can be notified about future episodes. And if you have any feedback or suggestions for topics you would like us to cover, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We love hearing from our listeners, and we're always looking for ways to improve and grow. Until next time, continue to stay strong so that you can finish strong.